Well, it hasn't been any time for you, but it's been a couple of weeks since I've played in this world, and if I'm being honest with you, it was kind of difficult for me to choose what I wanted to work on. I knew that I really wanted to work on replacing all of the wheat that we had in the mountains with some potatoes, which we ended up doing across the entire mountainside, and I'm so happy that we did it. But I realized that it wasn't really a good thing that I was procrastinating playing in my forever world, so I think that we're just gonna go with the flow in today's episode and make this entire area a little bit more functional and a little bit more aesthetic, so it's a place that I enjoy coming back to even more. I've been steadily trading away with the villagers that are over here by the pumpkin farm, and I have a feeling that we're gonna change up this area and maybe make a mine shaft or a storage area at some point. But right now I think that I have a bit of an itch for building, so let's do something freeform and take a look at what comes out. You know, that only took me a little bit of time, and just like that, we have another mountain cozy cottage, which is nicely accented by another stone path, which I think I did a really good job of the slope as it leads down the mountain. I decided to experiment a little bit with using some walls to add a little bit more texture to the side, but it's really nothing special as we head into the entrance, and you can see we don't really have anything for an interior as well, but that's personally okay with me because I like having a little bit more progress done in the kingdom. And now that I've made these stone pathway designs, it really makes me want to put it in the rest of the pathways around the kingdom too. But I'm not sure if we'll ever get to doing it because eventually we'll move on from this kingdom. I am considering the kingdom of Otapon to be a starter area where we get everything set up for the rest of our time in the world, although we still have a ton more progress to do around here before we can move on. But I was mentioning earlier that I don't really like this gazebo sort of thing, and I don't like the terrain that we have in this area. So I think that we're going to chop this guy down, and then behind me, over right into the mountain, we're gonna make ourselves a cave where we can have a massive storage area too. If my voice sounds different, it's because I'm kind of sick today, but I hope that you're enjoying the video so far, and if you are, consider leaving a like on the video. It really makes more of a difference than you may know as a small Minecraft content creator. But I say, let's get around to making a simple storage cave. I cannot begin to tell you how immensely satisfied I am by the build that we have behind us. I'm sure that many of you guys can relate to the feeling of having your inventory just strewn all around your world, and that was absolutely the case with me, and so we had to dig into the mountainside a little bit and make a storage area. And I've been putting this off for weeks, but now that we have everything in here and everything all sorted, I'm so glad that we did it. And as you can see in the chest, we actually have a decent amount of items as well. The good news is that we still have plenty of storage space left in the area, and it's located right in the middle of the kingdom, meaning that it's an easy access point for all of our items. And now that we have the ball running, I just can't wait to keep on building in this world. But in order to do that, I think it's just about time that we get a little bit more progressed in terms of the end game, or at least let's get to work at making the nether a little bit more pretty. Well, I do think that I cooked. Right next to our storage area right here, we have a wonderful little cottage that is connected by some more stone pathing, as you can see. And as we walk on up to it, you can see that it has some cool but light texturing when it comes to spruce trap doors. And then we also have some tuff and some cobblestone along with some stone bricks here as well. This time around for the roof, I went with a little bit more of a nuanced design where we have spruce stairs and spruce slabs along with dark oak slabs and dark oak stairs as well. This area where we were building really didn't need that much, but we ended up getting around to a good looking build, I think, and it totally fills in the area as well. We can press the button and head inside to a cool looking interior where we still have to finish off our smelter area, but I really do like the interior that we have with some windows and a place for food and some lecterns with some books in them, or some bookshelves with books in them as well. We have an area where we could cook up food, and then for ores as well, and then some kits and gadgets just all around, and I like how everything fits in together. Eventually this place will only be lit up by the lava that we have coming into the cauldrons right here, but I Still haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but before we get to finishing this place, I do think that there is one more thing that I want to do here in the Kingdom of Otapon, which is to make all of the pathways that we have in the entire kingdom so far the stone sort of pathing that we have below my feet right here. If we look at the kingdom on the map, you'll see that it's really no easy feat. Most of the pathways that we have right here are not stone whatsoever. I know that it'll be pretty easy to do, and I love making pathways anyway, so I say let's get around to doing that, and then we'll see what the kingdom looks like when we're done. Well, our pathways are complete and are looking quite fine in my personal opinion, but we've been up to a whole ton of other work as well. We have our new cottage, which houses our sugarcane farm, and it's missing a couple of pots from over here due to a creeper explosion. So I guess I can fix them real quick while we're here. If we head inside, we have a really wonderful looking interior with a drop chute on either side that leads down to the sugarcane farm. We have tons of item frames all over the place just for some extra added decoration, and one of our first diamond tools on the wall here too. We also have an amethyst crystal for some extra decoration and some extra chests just in case we need some extra storage. But we can hop on down to the drop chute where we'll be met with a really cool, fascinating looking sugarcane farm. We have some shroom lights and some oak trapdoors for some detailed light around the area. I ended up trying something new and textured the wall with some spruce planks and then some composters and the backside of some looms. But it leads us along our archways over to our sugarcane farm, which is running on both sides. And it's a really lovely farm. I always seem to have some troubles with it at first, but then it starts on producing and then you don't even have to think about sugarcane at all in time. And it's a really lovely farm. I always get the design off of a tutorial from Wisp, and I always have a couple of troubles when I'm making it, but it always ends up running and working really well in the long run. We have the same thing over on this side of the farm, and on both sides we have a stair where we can open our chest and see the sugarcane that we have inside. And I have a feeling that I want to put something in this area at some point in time, but I'm just not really sure what it is that I want to do. We have our storage for materials over here, and then over in this direction we have a drop chute, which, just like everywhere else in the Kingdom of Otapon, will lead us back up to the first floor, which, as you can see, allows for us to make the most of a small space. And as morning shines lights upon the dew on the plants, you can see that the pathways are just really looking incredible in the entire area. But I've been up to even more progress off camera, or off camera, as B-dubs would say. We can head on down to where our pumpkin farm lies. And now, if we open this door, we'll be met with a fantastic brand new villager trading hall where we have a mostly completed pond in the middle and then all of the different villager types of all the different trades that I might want. It might feel a little chaotic in here, but I really do like the vibe, and it's honestly really not too hard to make the trades that I want to with all the villagers just jumping around. Our new trading hall literally sits right next to where the pumpkin farm is, and therefore, just like everywhere so far in the Kingdom of Otapon, I do think that we've been up to a good use of space. It is officially day 611 here at the kingdom, and as you can see, it's actually Christmas morning. So a Merry Christmas to you all, and a Happy Holidays to everyone else if you don't celebrate. I've got some extra free time to get things done here on Christmas in the Kingdom of Otapon, and so as always, it's time for me to get back to work. I'm really not sure how, but it seems that we happen to have found Marnie once again. It's good to see you, girl. I can't believe it's been such a long time since I last saw you. Actually, haven't seen Marnie since the last time I saw Etat, which has been a while now. And so I must say that it feels good to have some company here at the Kingdom of Otapon. You can also see that now that the snow's gone, the sky has been up to a whole ton of work around here. We'll eventually be expanding the kingdom, so we've started to make ourselves a bridge over to a new region, although I'm going to keep my plans for what it's going to be as a secret at the moment. But as you can see, we still have plenty of texturing that we need to get done on the bridge, or our monorail to put it better. As you can see, all in the distance, we have a railway going throughout the entire area over to our new region. But I think that we'll get around to detailing this build at a later point in time, because at the moment, I think that I want to start on another major build. You see, the wonderful Minecraft content creator Simply Knight has recently made a massive tunnel and made another portal with a tree into the mountainside, and I think that I want to be doing the same somewhere in this mountain area. Now, I'm not exactly sure what I want this mountain tunnel to look like just yet, but I say that the only way to find out is to start digging. Well, I think that Marty agrees that we've gotten a whole ton of work done behind us. Our mountain over here has totally been caved into, and although I do happen to have diamond tools, it still takes a long time without a beacon. You will see that I've left some emerald ore blocks so that we can still touch them up later. But besides knowing that I want to do something with these 3 emerald ore blocks at some point in time, I have no idea what I want to do with the archway to this tunnel. I guess I do know that the tunnel is going to be 23 blocks in width and 37 blocks in height, meaning that this guy is going to be a big project, and we'll get to it little bit by little bit over time. But I do think that I want to hop into build school and get an idea for the arches of the tunnel that we're going to be making. So we'll get around to doing that, maybe prop the arches around in the area so that we have an idea of where to dig out, and then I think that we're going to get up to something pretty exciting. Well, as you've seen, after a couple of hours in creative, this is going to be a lot bigger of a project than we were originally thinking. So we'll have to hold off on this project for another day, but that's okay with me because this lovely kingdom has plenty that we can work on. There's a whole lot that we can do with all the nooks and crannies that we have in the areas like this right here. And although we want to expand the kingdom at some point, we want this kingdom to be as detailed as possible at the same. So as the sun sets in this beautiful kingdom, in the beautiful lands of Otapon, say, let's get back to work. Well, it does seem to me that the theme of today's episode is starting projects that are a bit beyond our capacity. For as you've seen, we ended up hopping onto Build School and we got to see Wreckjaw and a couple of other friends, but the design that we ended up making for our tunnel area over here is just way too big for us to do in one episode. Even starting to lay down the infrastructure is going to be too time consuming for me to want to do at the moment. But as you can see, as I was thinking about what I wanted to do next in the episode, we got around to making a bit of a wheat field that's in progress right here. I have placed down all of the seeds to my name, and so we'll continue to fill in the field over time. But you can see that we have a nice retaining wall with tons of different stone blocks. And by tons, I just mean stone brick slabs, cobblestone slabs, and stone slabs. But I know that we're not done completing this area yet, but I must say that whenever this guy is going to be completed, it's going to fill in the entire kingdom so much. Making paths and creating farmland are two for sure ways of making your area look really beautiful and in a short period of time as well. But as we add on to the list of things to do here in the Kingdom of Otapon, I must say I really do love how the area is coming together. We're honestly at a point of being ready to beat the game, and I was considering doing it in this episode, but I think we may hold off. We'll have to see what happens. For as many of you know, although I'm a big planner in Minecraft, every once in a while when it comes to the game progression related things, I definitely like to wing it. So I say let's continue to work on the kingdom, maybe put some more builds into this area, or who knows, maybe even take on the end dragon. I guess that I'll find out now, and you'll find out with me as we get into another cinematic. Especially with the entire build just being off the top, I like how everything has come out so far, and a lot of people would call it there, but I'm not a lot of people, and there's still a whole lot more texturing and detailing that I want to do to the build. So I've kind of decided that I'm going to bring you with me for the final touches, which starts off usually with some campfires, which we of course take out with our shovels, and it makes a big difference with adding a little bit more detail to the area. We'll kind of just do it in places that seem like they could need it, and some places, just like here, could even use too. So we'll extinguish these bad boys. We can also come in with a couple of these pots where eventually we'll put in flowers, which always adds a little bit of extra pop to your builds, as you can instantly tell. Although I only like to put them into the nooks and corners if you can. You can crouch down and place a flower pot inside, and then a blue orchid as well, and it just instantly spices up everything. As you can see, we've already textured with barrels, which really breaks up the blocky feeling to a build. We're actually gonna head on up to the roof, where I say that you should never be afraid of putting some flower pots with some flowers on top of your roof line as well. It seems that I'm out of flowers in my hands at the moment, so we'll just place them down on the edge of the outer lining of the roof, and then we can come on in with your saplings or a flower or whatever you want to, and it adds to the texture line and the color as well. I oftentimes put them up here and exchange them with the lanterns that I have on the top of my roof line here, but this time I just don't feel like doing so. Although depending on your layer of slabs, it can be nice to put them up here as well, especially if we wanted to add some height variation to the middle of the roof line. And you can always switch up the colors and plants that you use, but oftentimes I try to just keep it consistent. The main reason is out of laziness, but at the same time, when you're playing in survival, it can be kind of hard to get so many different flowers, or at least early game that is. And then one other thing that's really nice is to line the entrance to your build, whether it be with some wood and fences or an item frame, which is what I like to personally do, which shows exactly what the build is about. And we haven't done the interior yet, but I think that maybe we'll make a brewing area out of this build here. I have decided to go with glass panes as opposed to glass blocks because they split into the middle of the block too, and as it rains, it still will add some extra texture to your build too. Or maybe depth is a better word. But I do also want to mention that there's a whole ton that you can do with leaves. For example, we can place down a fence and a leaf here to have a mini tree. And who knows, we'll try our best to see if we can do the same on this side. Although you definitely want to have shears in hand because you might not always be happy with all of the choices that you make. But I do think that we can maybe place another one right here, and we'll place another one right here just for good measure. And then maybe a third one right here that goes too tall. And I think that I'll move this one back as well, and it'll go here instead. And so just like that, we have some mini trees, some mini bushes in the area, and then we're gonna head back on up to the top where we'll place the first layer of some leaves that we'll have spiraling down here. We'll actually dig into the wall here diagonally and then place in some leaves, which will fill in the roof even more. We'll do the same here and there, and just a little bit everywhere on the roof. And then we can come down here, and then in a spiral fashion where I kind of go 2 down and then 1 out, and then take out the 2 leaves right here, we can start to have a diagonal way that spirals down. For example, I think that I want to have my next block be 1 down, 1 out, and then 1 to the left right here. And so I can go like that. I can take out the 2 temporary blocks, and it'll continue to flow down just like it's a part of the wind. We'll actually take out this trap door and we'll finish off the wind pile there. And we'll do the same thing a couple of times and then take out the spares, and we'll be left with something that we can start to work with more. And then as it rains again, we can place a couple of lanterns to give some extra light detail to the area. But I think we'll head to sleep for the night. Air out the backside of the build a little bit. Come around in here to extend the path. We can fill it in with stone as well. And now, if you really want to, it's as simple as just coming in with some bone meal and bringing this entire area to life. So we'll go around the area without thinking about it too much at first. And now that we've used up all of our bone meal, you can see that the entire area now just has a much more wild, rugged vibe. If I wanted to, just like in some of these areas right here, I can come around with shears and then I can collect up the ferns from them. And then I can place them down individually as single grass, which will make your area look a little bit more tame, which is something that I think that we'll do in the occasional area, like at the entrance to the house here. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as 1 tall grass, 1 away from the path, and then as we go a little bit more farther away from the path, I'll leave it as 2 tall, which will kind of close in the area. And this brewing area is not a part of the main kingdom, at least as of now, which everything happens to be over in this direction, so we'll leave things looking a little bit more wild at the moment. But just like that, we have the exterior of a cool looking little brewing cottage and a nice pathway that goes all the way down to where our city is going to be with our railway that we have here. But of course, we are not done yet, because if we head on over, as I've already mentioned, to the interior, we have nothing really here except for just a couple of item frames, which I'm going to get around to doing at the moment, and I bet that I can do it faster than you can say subscribe. And just like that, we have a brand new interior for our brewing cabin. I must say, my favorite part may just be this ominous potion that we have on the wall, but we can open the door to head inside to a pretty looking little interior, and then we can take a step forward to a little bit of a cooking and a cleaning area. This is our miniature kitchen. A really nice trick that I like using is hanging a banner into a cauldron with water, and it kind of just makes a little wash your hands sort of area. And then on this side we have another table with a plant and some bushes right here. And one interesting thing is I just decided to use a sea pickle on top because I have 3 of them, and why don't you use them? We have a miniature storage area right here. One thing I highly recommend doing is taking trapdoors and just lining in your barrels to just kind of condense them into the area. And then right here, we just have a miniature reading little area. This is nothing in particular. Maybe these will hold potion books as we continue in the survival world, but you don't really need a lot, just some extra item frames. I really just place down things and see what happens with it. And then it is also worth mentioning that for the floor design, we have deep slate and cobbled deep slate along with tuff and some mud right here. I think that this area really works, and in particular, I also like that if we open the door, it has a nice outer pathway over to our train area. I know that there are a lot of builders that really only focus on the front-facing side, on the thumbnail zone of their build, but as someone that likes to live in their world, I say, why not try to make it feel as immersive throughout, which is what we're trying to do here at the Kingdom of Otapon. I'm going to run away from this guy. And there he goes down. I still have kept this area to the right pretty tame here. And the reason being is this is kind of our work area, and I still don't know what I want to do with everything in here yet. But that's okay. We're starting to close in this area with the path, and as we get to making our tunnel, I'm sure that things will come together. But I must say, I'm quite happy with everything that we've been able to get done here this episode here in the Kingdom of Otapon. We really seem to have gotten some good weather here in the winter months. And Marnie, excitingly, in the new year, you and I both will head over into this direction and we'll start to make a city. As long as we can keep Otapon safe, that is. But for now, in order to make that happen, let us get work.